Let's practice doing a few more order of operations problems that use grouping symbols. The first one we're going to look at is 4 divided by 2 plus 5, and then in parentheses 10 minus 6. Now the way you would say that out loud, parentheses, is you would say 4 divided by 2 plus 5 times the quantity 10 minus 6. The quantity is the math way of saying these things are grouped together. So just like every time we have these, anytime we're evaluating something, we always start with the grouping symbols. And so we do have some grouping symbols here. The grouping symbols in this case are parentheses, and that's where the 10 minus 6 is. So we're going to start off with the 10 minus 6, and 10 minus 6, of course, is 4. So we've got 4. We're going to leave the parentheses. You'll see why in just a minute. But we have evaluated everything that's in the parentheses. We're going to leave the rest alone. Now that I have written it out, I hope it becomes obvious why we still needed the parentheses. Without the parentheses, the end of that would look like 54. And it's not 54, we want to do 5 multiplied by 4. But that's not what we want to do next. After checking to see if there are any powers, and there aren't here, we want to do multiplication and division, but we don't always do multiplication and division in that order. We multiply and divide from left to right. So as we read this problem from left to right, the first thing we see is actually division, 4 divided by 2. So that's what we're going to do next is division. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then we've got plus 5 times 4. The next thing we're going to do is the multiplication, 5 times 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. So we end up with 2 plus 20, which is 22. So 22 is going to be our final answer. Okay, let's take a look at this second one. 6 multiplied by the quantity 32 minus the quantity 2 plus 3 squared. So we've got two sets of grouping symbols in here. We've got some parentheses in the middle with that 2 plus 3, and then we've also got brackets that have everything except for the 6 in there. So when you've got two sets of grouping symbols, the one that you do first is the innermost set. Usually it's going to be parentheses. Parentheses are going to be the innermost set, and then brackets, and then there's a special kind of sort of curvy bracket if we needed to go out a third layer. But in this case, we are going to start with the 2 plus 3 because that is the innermost set. So 2 plus 3 is going to give us 5. We are going to leave the parentheses. After we've evaluated everything in the parentheses, we still leave the parentheses. And we've got 32 minus 5 squared still in those brackets. All we've done is do 2 plus 3 equals 5. So what comes next? Well, we still have a grouping symbol. We still have those brackets, that is grouping those numbers together. And inside those brackets, we have two different operations. We have subtraction, 32 minus, and we have a power, 5 squared. Our order of operations says the power comes next, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, everything else we're going to leave the same. We've evaluated everything in the parentheses, and we've almost done everything in the brackets. We've got one thing left, and that's 32 minus 25, which is going to give us 7. So 32 minus 25 is 7. We need to leave the brackets, though. Just like on that first problem, the brackets are important because without the brackets, this would look like 67. And it's not 67, it's 6 times 7, which is 42, and 42 is going to be our final answer. Okay, last one. Let's take a look at a fraction here. Now, the reason this is important is because it does not look like this problem has any grouping symbols. It doesn't look like we have any parentheses or brackets, and we don't. We don't have any parentheses or brackets, but the fraction line The fraction line is a grouping symbol. So this means first we evaluate the numerator, then we evaluate the denominator, then we divide. Dividing is the last thing that we do. So looking at the numerator, the first thing I see in the numerator that we can do is this 2 cubed. And 2 cubed is going to give us 8. So we're going to have 8 minus 5 in the numerator over 15 plus 9. And then the last thing we have in the numerator is the 8 minus 5. So let's go ahead and do that. 8 minus 5 is going to give us 3. So we'll have 3 on top. And on the bottom, we have 15 plus 9. Now we're going to deal with the denominator, which is our second group. And we've got 15 plus 9 in the denominator. So 15 plus 9 is going to give us 24. So we've got 24 in the denominator and 3 in the numerator. And now the last thing we do is divide. 3 divided by 24, of course, does not come out to a whole number, but it can reduce to a fraction. 3 over 24 reduces to 1/8. And 1/8 is going to be our final answer on that problem.